are welcoming the renewed interest in Keystone from U.S. President Donald Trump. We should point out that this should be very low-hanging fruit. Keystone was something that the previous Conservative government approved way back in 2010. In fact, it was one of Donald Trump's first actions in his first term was to sign the executive order supporting Keystone XL. So it's no surprise that he has brought this back up at this point in time. And while Keystone XL would, of course, be a benefit to Canada, it was Liberal inaction that allowed a previous president to kill Keystone XL. And remember, Mark Carney cheered on Justin Trudeau as Justin Trudeau was cancelling pipelines here at home. Getting Keystone XL built is one part of the problem, but a production cap preventing new oil and gas development here in Canada won't do us any good. It doesn't matter if you can build a pipeline and put it in the ground if you can't put anything through it. In addition, this pipeline does not truly solve Canada's sovereignty problem. Under the Liberals, Canada has become even more dependent on the U.S., and while this pipeline would provide benefits to Canada, it still means that we're selling our energy to the U.S. And that's why Conservatives renew our call to truly get the government out of the way of the energy sector. We're calling on the government to lift the production cap on Canadian oil and gas, eliminate the shipping ban, which solely applies to Canadian energy shipments off the West Coast. Conservatives believe in a country where Canada can be self-sufficient when it comes to energy. That's why we support a west-to-east pipeline to displace foreign oil coming into eastern refineries. That's why we support a pipeline to take central and western Canadian energy to our BC shores. Mark Carney has explained what he's going to do with the problem right now of getting that pipeline built to our western shores. A pipeline to the West Coast would open up Asian markets, countries in Asia that are pleading with us to sell them our energy. None of that is solved by the current Liberal leave-it-in-the-ground approach. So once again, we're welcoming this renewed interest, pointing out the fact that this has long been something that President Trump has supported, and Mark Carney can't really claim credit for that because it was his government that stood in the way of so many pipelines and did nothing to champion Keystone XL during the previous administration in the United States. So happy to take your questions on that, but that's what I want to come.
C'est un premier pas encourageant pour vous, donc, Monsieur Scheer, que ça fasse partie des négociations.
Mais il n'y a pas de négociations. Le président Trump appuie le projet Keystone. Elle a déjà signé son nom sur un ordre pour approuver cette négociation. Si Mark Carney offre quelque chose à Donald Trump pour Keystone, ça c'est un très mauvais résultat pour les Canadiens parce que M. Trump veut le Keystone. So I'll just say again, it shouldn't really be part of a negotiation. Donald Trump has already signaled he supports Keystone. He signed an order approving it back in 2017 in his first term. If Mark Carney is offering something up to Donald Trump in exchange for Keystone, then Mark Carney is the worst negotiator in the world because Donald Trump has already signaled that he wants it. You don't have to give something up in order to get something from someone who's already signaled they're going to do it.
So you want this pipeline built, but you're saying that the government shouldn't be offering anything in exchange to make sure that it does get revived, despite multiple cancellation and pauses. So is that exactly the case? And also, what if the government said, hey, we'll pay for it? Do you think that that's something that Canada should do to ensure that this pipeline gets built? Like, how high on your priority is getting the pipeline built?
So you're asking about if Canadian tax dollars should go to build a pipeline in the United States? I mean, I'll just point out that before Justin Trudeau and Mark Carney and the Liberals came to power, investors built pipelines. It's only been since the Liberals have been in power that taxpayers have had to subsidize pipeline projects. We used to have a country where investors were fighting to get their dollars into Canada, to build pipelines in Canada, so we can sell our energy, so that workers can have jobs and provincial governments can benefit from those royalties. Under this Liberal government, those investment dollars are now going to the United States. TransCanada Energy announced $8.5 billion worth of new energy projects. in the U.S. It's taking Canadian investment dollars to go to work in the American economy. It's jobs lost here in Canada to the benefit of the U.S. economy, and that's a terrible indictment on Liberal energy policies.
Vous dites que vous n'êtes pas en faveur vraiment d'un Keystone XL, vous voulez un pipeline vers l'ouest. Est-ce que la position
Vous pouvez répéter le préambule?
Vous voulez un pipeline vers l'ouest. Donc, est-ce que la position des conservateurs, c'est d'ignorer la volonté de la Colombie-Britannique de ne pas avoir de pipeline sur son territoire?
Premièrement, nous appuyons le projet de Keystone. C'était une politique du Parti conservateur il y a beaucoup des années. Mais nous reconnaissons, nous sommes les champions pour le secteur énergétique et nous appuyons les pipelines dans toutes les directions. Nous soulignons le fait que le projet Keystone ne réglait pas le problème que le Canada, sous les libéraux, vraiment avoir seulement un marché pour livrer nos produits. Sous les politiques libérales, nous sommes plus dépendants sur les Américains qu'en avant. Nous aussi appuyons les autres pipelines. Pour une pipeline à l'ouest, on ouvre les marchés asiatiques. Ça, c'est vraiment important pour avoir beaucoup plus d'argent pour notre produit, pour nos travailleurs et pour nos gouvernements.
Vous dites quoi de l'opposition de David Eby et de la Colombie-Britannique?
Ce sont les projets énergétiques, les grands projets comme les pipelines, c'est dans l'intérêt national. Et nous avons un gouvernement fédéral pour les projets comme ça. C'est très, très clair. Et, le Parti conservateur a déjà obtenir les résultats avec les pipelines qui va entre les provinces et on peut faire la même chose en futur.
Just on your point about how Canada shouldn't be giving anything up to have Keystone go to the United States. Danielle Smith today said that she told Mark Carney that Canada shouldn't be threatening to withhold oil. It should be...
Sorry, you speak a little
louder.
Sorry,
I'll come closer.
Yeah.
Danielle Smith today said that Mark Carney shouldn't be threatening to withhold oil to the United States. He should be promising more oil to the U.S. in exchange for things. So isn't that kind of what the Prime Minister is doing?
I'm pointing out the fact that Donald Trump has signaled that he supports pipelines, he supports the Keystone pipeline for a long time. It was one of his first acts when he was president the first time in 2017. He signed an executive order approving it. So what I'm pointing out is that this should be low-hanging fruit. I mean, this is something that the president, the American president, having more access to Canadian energy is something that should be a matter of course. And it shouldn't be that difficult for Mark Carney to obtain a guarantee on that. The problem that still remains is that as long as he keeps his leave-it-in-the-ground policies like the shipping ban, like the production cap, it's not going to do the energy sector that much good. So what we're calling on the government to do is let's make sure we get this right. If the president proceeds with Keystone, let's do everything we can on the domestic side here. Let's lift that production cap. Let's open up repeal the shipping ban so that projects to the West Coast can proceed and open up those Asian markets.
Last question. Are you ready to support the border bill now that the Canada Post mail aspect and the lawful aspect parts have been removed?
Well, I believe the new bill is just about to be tabled today, so we will take a look at it. We signaled our opposition to massive overreaches by the government in violating the privacy rights of Canadians, breaking long-standing principles in our justice system of governments requiring some kind of judicial oversight before they open mail and go through people's personal records and things like that. Our leader, Pierre Poilievre, demanded that this government remove those offensive parts of the bill. We'll see what they actually do. I will point out that it's pretty embarrassing for this public safety minister. I mean, Bill C-2 is actually the first piece of legislation that this government introduced. This was their signature response to pressures and requests from the U.S. government to improve the situation at our border, and they got it so wrong, so badly right off the bat that the ministers basically had to use a mulligan and a do-over. So we'll go through this new piece of legislation very thoroughly, and we'll have more to say once we've done that.
Thank you.
Thanks very much, everyone.